Good afternoon, Recovery Warrior family. Jay Rizzo here. Thought I'd just jump back on and give you guys an update of how I've been. I know most of you probably don't know my story. I figured I'd just tell my story, you know what I mean? So yeah, my name is Jay, real name's Jared. I was born in Crow Agency, Montana. My dad passed away when I was 2, so I didn't know him. And my mom remarried, I believe when I was like 3 or 4, I believe. She remarried, and she married a Marine guy from Twin Buttes, and he raised me. And he was rough and tough. He was a pretty good man. I mean, I still know where he is. I'm still in contact with him, but I call him Pops, He's still my stepdad. He was pretty much the man who raised me to who I am today. Obviously I had uncles or whatnot in my life, but yeah, he was the man that raised me. Everything I pretty much learned throughout the adult lifehood, I guess, was taught from him. When I was 12, was the first time I ever got drunk. Me and my white buddy, we were digging around and we found his dad's liquor cabinet, and we made a big old cocktail of just the ultimate mix of whatever we could find in that liquor cabinet. We mixed it all together, and it was the first time I ever got drunk. I don't know, it was a freeing feeling. Felt pretty good, I thought. So I think that started my addiction, to substances. So from that point on, I just looked for that feeling. I just looked for that feeling of being mind altered and inebriated to escape the reality of the turmoil that I thought life dealt me. Losing a dad, being raised by a Marine, and just living spoiled. My mom spoiled me. Like, she bought me everything I ever wanted and needed, and I was a spoiled brat, I think. But anyway, 12 to 16, I just kept getting drunk, getting high, smoking weed, whatever I could find. And when I was 16, I moved out of the house. I started living on, I don't know, just living with a foster mom. So from 16 to 17, stayed with her, and I just kept getting drunk. She sent me to treatment twice. So, that started the outlook of there is help out there, so to speak. So when I was 17, I left the home. I left the sheltered environment of having parental units in my house. So from when I was 17 to, I want to say 23, I just stayed where I could. I lived on couches, slept on floors, same time just getting drunk, finding that escape from reality. So I just did what I could. So when I was 23, I met my kids' mom. My kids, I have 2 daughters. They're 22 and 23. So I stayed with their mom for 14 years. But through that 14 years, I kept drinking, smoking weed, drinking, trying meth, just dabbling in mind-altering substances, and just loved it. I loved the lifestyle. Through that 14 years, I tried to raise my kids, tried to do the best I could, and finally shit hit the fan, and I left her. I left the mother of my children, and I don't know, the flame went out. So I moved back to what I knew. I moved back with my grandma, and it was horrible. I knew my grandma would take me in because I basically had nowhere to go, and if she didn't, I probably just would have slept in my car, outside her house, and did what I could. So I survived and lived with her. Almost the whole time I'm just drinking. I hated it, but I said my amends to my grandma, and I don't know how, she's like 20 or 40 some years older than me, so she's still alive today, and I pray for her every day. But I said my amends to her, and she said, that's okay, just keep doing what you're doing, stay sober. So I did. So I moved back with my grandma, and the whole time I'm drinking, just finding ways to get drunk, robbing, stealing, cheating, just to get drunk. So at that time I was 23. So I moved in with my kids' mom for 14 years, 33, 34, 37. Like I said, I moved back to Montana, and I moved back to North Dakota. Just kept drinking. I drank heavily for like a year. I just kept bouncing back to people that would take me in, including women. I don't know, I just lived with women for places to stay, like, it's kind of ugly, but that's the lifestyle I lived. I just got with people, so I had a place to live. I just learned how to survive. It stems back all the way back from when I was 16, and I left my mom's sheltered environment, so now I became a survivalist, I believe. So I was able to just ask people, mostly just take advantage of them, and that included women. So I just got with people I could live with. It's an ugly learned environment. It's an ugly learned, I don't know, situation that I always put myself into. Thank God I'm still alive. So yeah, so when I was like 37, I don't know, shit hit the fan. 37, 38, bounced back and forth and through different relationships. I got legally married twice. Once I married her because, I thought I loved her. I thought we were in love, but we just kept drinking. And it didn't even work. Like, I just married her thinking the marriage was gonna help, stem this relationship and further it more, but it didn't. It made it worse. So now we're married, and all we did was drink and fight. And we got annulled in like 7 months. So I bounced out of that relationship into another, and I was with her for I don't know, maybe 6 months. Married her legally, married her trying to have a baby. She did get pregnant, but I don't know, after she got pregnant, shit hit the fan. And what did I do? I just started drinking. I don't know, I just stayed where I could. I even went back to my kids' mom, and my kids' mom was in a relationship. She said, yeah, you can come back and live with us, come back and stay until you find a place to go. So I went back to my kids' mom's house, and she had a boyfriend there. I slept on the living room floor just drinking. The whole time I'm drinking. And, my daughters were in relationships too, and, they have kids. And here I am, dad, living on the floor in their house, drinking. And it was just really ugly. This was, I want to say 4 years ago, where I did that. I bounced back and forth through those relationships with those prior women I married. And I went back and I started living on the living room floor of my kids' house, which was, now, I thank God that they took me in because I had nowhere to go. And, I thanked her for letting me live there. But at the same time, I'm just doing what I know, surviving, living, eating where I could, giving away everything of value, selling everything of value. And then it was crazy because that was July of 2021. I was living on the floor of my kids' mom's house. And then I go back to my first ex-wife. I go back to her. And it didn't even work out. We were just trying to make it work, but I don't know, we just kept drinking and the love was gone. We ended up fighting and just arguing all the time, and she was bringing up old shit, I was bringing up old shit. So here I am again, just nowhere to go. So I moved back to Newtown, and I was like, man, I need to do something with my life. Here I am, 43 years old, homeless, don't know what to do. So I'm thinking, like, damn, it's getting cold out. By then it was about October 2021, started getting cool out. And I'm thinking, damn, what do I do? Okay. I bit the bullet and I was like, shit, I'll just go to treatment. Might be a place to go for a little bit, dry up, get back out. So October 2021, Newtown, North Dakota, I contacted Circle Life, which is a treatment center services, I believe, in Newtown. So I contacted them. I don't know what I was doing. I contacted them. They're like, yeah, come on down, do an evaluation, and we'll go from there. So I go to the center and I do an evaluation, telling them the truth of what I'm doing. I'm drinking cheap vodka, I'm trying to stay drunk, I have nowhere to go. So I do the evaluation. They're like, okay, yeah, you're pretty messed up. We'll recommend you for treatment. So I was like, all right, what do I do next? So it's obviously get the physical, go to, all this, and I jump through those hoops. And then my cousin, she gets a hold of me and she's like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, nothing, just waiting to go to treatment. She's like, come stay with me. We'll hang out. And by hang out, you know what I mean? Drink. So I'm like, okay. So I go live with her, and she's just in a bad way too, man. She's drinking hard. I didn't know she was on the brink of getting evicted from her place. So anyway, I go move in with her, and all we do is drink, And then she gets evicted. Her door, the locks on her door get changed, so we can't access her apartment no more. And she has a little 4-door Honda Accord. So we start living in that, and we back it up to a detached garage that belongs to her apartment building, and we start sleeping in that. We start sleeping in that, and we were just sharing a bottle. We were using the bathroom at the gas stations, and using the bathroom inside that garage. She would use one corner, I'd use the other. We'd crack the door, and that's how we would stay warm. And at the same time, I still had all these predetermined decisions to go to treatment, but I'm drinking with her heavily, cheap vodka. So, I had a cell phone, getting phone calls. I kept calling the Circle Life, hey man, when am I gonna go to treatment? Because in my mind, I'm thinking I can't live this way no more. And lo and behold, the treatment center says, we got somebody that will accept you. So I go down, get my TB test, do my physical, and they're like, you're gonna get picked up in 4 days or something like that. 4 days, they're gonna come pick you up at the jail here in Newtown, North Dakota. So don't miss your ride. It's gonna be at 10 o'clock. So I was like, cool, where am I going? And I thought they said Rolla, R-O-L-L-A, Rolla, North Dakota. So I start Googling Rolla, and Rolla's up by, I believe it's by Belcourt or somewhere. I don't know. If you guys know, drop a comment. But they said Raleigh. And it was crazy because I go down the next day. And it was funny because when I was in treatment, I don't remember my last drink, when the last time I took a drink. But on the night before, I took my last drink at 8:40 p.m. There was that much of a shot left, and I took it. And I remember putting that bottle down, And my cousin took it, the same one. We were living in her car. She took it and she killed it. And she was trying to make me go out and get more. Like, go get us another bottle. You know, I got gift cards. She gave me a couple gift cards for the liquor store. It was a gas station. I was like, no, I can't. I gotta fix it. I gotta catch my ride in the morning. So, long story short, I remember my last drink. You know, this last go around that I drank. I remember my last usage. It was crazy. I didn't remember that. 4 years in recovery, and I never remembered that, but I do now. So anyway, the next day they picked me up and we're cruising south of Newtown. I'm like, where the hell are we going? I thought we were going to Rolla, you know. Rolla's up by Belcourt. So we're cruising and then we get to Bismarck. And I'm thinking, okay, what are we doing this far south? So we go to Good Road Recovery Center and there's a native dude laying there. He's sicker than hell, and we pick him up. He jumps in the van with us. And then we start heading towards Mandan, and then we drive out of Mandan, and I'm thinking, what the hell, where are we going? we're heading west from Mandan. Where the frick are we going? And I didn't know, you know, because I was sick. By then, I'm losing my morning buzz, and I'm starting to feel like shit. And anyways, we go out in the middle of nowhere, and we get to like this old school-looking thing, and we're coming to a stop, and I'm so sick. By then it's like maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's Prairie Recovery Center. We pull up to there, and I'm so sick. And we go to the intake office, and I remember the lady gave me I don't know who she was, but I think she still works there. Anyway, she gave me the intake papers, and I'm trying to sign my name, and I've been drinking for, you know, July, August, September, October, November. I've been drinking for 5 months straight, just trying to stay drunk. So when I'm trying to sign my name, I'm shaking. I can't even sign my name. So I give it to that lady, and I was like, can you sign it for me? I was like, I can't sign it. And I got to shake so bad. And she's like, no, you sign it. And I'm like, shit, all right. So I just... Anyway, I remember walking across to the main building, and I was, you know, really sick. I was starting to dry heave. And it was a Thursday, November 18th, 2021, my sobriety date, the day I changed my life. So I remember being in treatment that first day, and I didn't know, I could have said no, but we went to a AA meeting that night at the complex there, the facility. And I remember these 3 outside ladies. I'm still in contact with one of them. She's a sober sister now. I remember her being at that meeting. They came from the outside, from Bismarck. They came to that AA meeting, 7 p.m. Thursday night. And it came around, and it came to those 3 ladies, and it came to her. And she started sharing. Man, she was so alive. She was so happy. She was just telling her story just loud, like, hello, my name is so-and-so, and this is awesome. I love this lifestyle. You know, and I was like, man, I'm sitting there sicker than hell, and I was like, I want that. I want that life. I want that life. I remember telling myself that, and I was just so depressed. So like, man. So I go back. Anyway, I think like the first week in treatment, I get these papers thrown in my, you know, a big old stack of papers thrown in front of me while I'm at group. And I'm looking at those papers and, yeah, whatever, you know, homework. So I'm just concentrating on what I'm doing, and like a day or 2 go by, and I look at those papers. Finally, I put them in my folder. I look at them, they're sober living papers. So I fill them out for shits and giggles, fill them out. I didn't know where I was going at the time. So second week in treatment, I have a spiritual experience. I believe it's a spiritual awakening, my first one. So I'm laying on my bed, and you guys don't, I forgot, I'm like 400 pounds at the time, and I'm using a cane because I have chronic hip pain. So I'm laying on my bed and I'm praying. I'm like, I didn't know how to pray, you know, I didn't know what to pray to. God, whatever, help me find my purpose for me in life. So I just had this weird feeling like I'm here for a reason. I'm here in treatment for a reason. make the most of it. So I walk out of that bedroom and I walk down the hall and I feel weird. I feel different. This whole perspective of this treatment center is different. So I'm like, damn, okay, I'm here for a reason. So I started listening. I started talking more in group. I started engaging in group. I started being there for a purpose. And then now my discharge date's coming up. I'm pushing 50 days and they're like, Jared, you're gonna be discharging soon. Where are you gonna go? I'm like, shit. Well, I filled out those sober living papers. I guess I'll go there. So they started the ball rolling, and MHA Sober Living accepted me. So that's where I went. You know, I went to MHA Sober Living, and I want to say the stipulations that they set up were a foundation to my recovery today, because they told me to get a sponsor, you know, find a home group, utilize that sponsor, get to the 12 steps, you know. So I'm like, shit, I could do that. Oh yeah, and go to 10 meetings a week. So I was like, all right, I could do this. So I started jumping through the hoops. I started working with my sponsor every week, and you know, I'm still hobbling around. And it wasn't until, I don't know, I did my 5th step and something happened. I could talk about that later if you guys want me to talk about that 5th step that changed my life. But anyway, 400 pounds, hobbling around, and then get through my steps and I have a spiritual experience, another one. It's just like I knew I could do this recovery lifestyle. So 3 months into treatment, 3 months into sober living, they offered me a job. You know, do you want to be a house manager? You can run this house if you want. So I was like, yeah, I'm not doing nothing else with my life. I guess I could be a house manager. So I took the house manager position, and I started running that sober living house along with you know, another guy. And we had like an average of around 9 to 11 roommates. So I started doing these, you know, these sober living house manager duties. And it was weird because my hips started getting worse. You know, it got to the point where I started using 2 canes to walk. And then it got to the point where I was using a rolling walker, like old man walker. I started using that, and it got to the point where I couldn't walk. Now I'm in sober living. It's not a hard, strenuous physical activity job. So I'm on food stamps, and I'm getting paid buku bucks, you know, and so I'm buying all kinds of food. Didn't know how to cook, so we're constantly eating out, and I ballooned up to like 409 pounds. And I got to the point where my legs were locked, and I couldn't walk. Defeated, but at the same time, doing my steps, found God, praying, God, what do I do? But it was cool because I had mentors that had more sobriety time than me, especially like my sponsor, my grant sponsors, and a couple of coworkers, you know, my brothers now, that told me, you know, just keep going. So I was talking to my bro, you know, he's my brother today. He's my boss. He was my boss in sober living, you know. JB, shout out to you if you're watching this. I remember talking to him, and we were talking about weight loss, and he mentioned to me that another brother was looking at bariatric weight loss surgery. So he said maybe he could do that because he can't exercise. And his exact words were, "We need you around, bro. Go ahead and do it." And he's my boss, you know. So I'm like, all right. So I started jumping through the hoops to get the bariatric weight loss surgery, do everything I could to get that surgery. So I get the bariatric weight loss surgery, and I lose 181 pounds. You know, I'm ballooned up to 409, and I get down to like, I don't know, 229. So I'm still not able to walk. So now I go to another doctor, and they do MRI on me. He basically said your femur heads are locked. Your femur heads are locked into your pelvis. That's why you can't move them. No more cartilage. They're seized. Oh, shit, what do I do? He said the only option is total hip replacement. Fuck. Like, dang, God's dealing me a wicked hand, you know, but at the same time, I'm talking to God, right? God's got my back, so pray about it, and I get one total hip replaced. 3 months later, get the other total hip replaced. Now, I'm only, let me see, I was only 45 at the time. Yeah, this was 2 years ago. No, I was 44. So I'm 44 years old. I have bariatric weight loss surgery. I have one total hip replacement. I have 2 total hip replacements at the age of 44. And at the same time, I wasn't being defeated. You're not going to stop me, life. You're not going to stop me, addiction. Because I had God on my side. I found God through the 12 steps. Now that's me. I don't know what you guys do out there for your, you know, for your situations, but I pray to God that I believe in, you know. So, long story short, I have 2 total hip replacements and bariatric weight loss surgery at the age of 44. And then through all of that, I have a girlfriend, you know, and she helps me. Like, I'm still in sober living, but we're still dating, and we're talking, and eventually it's like, maybe we should move in together. So long story short, she's my wife today. Her name is Dina. You guys want to check her out, she's on the videos in my catalog on my channel. So today, I moved in with her October, and that's 11 months ago. So we've been living together for 11 months. We have our own place, and I work at a treatment center. The same treatment center I went to 4 years and 10 months ago. That same treatment center I went to, I now work at. Shout out to Prairie Recovery Center. They gave me a shirt. This is part of their, it's a celebration they had, but they gave me a shirt. But today I work at that treatment center, and I help addicts and alcoholics throughout their evening. You know, I'm a peer support resident specialist. So I work at that treatment center today, and it's an awesome job. And it's awesome to tell them that I too went to this treatment center a little under 4 years ago. You know, if I can do it, you guys can do it. And I don't tell my story all the time, guys. You know, I don't like repeating myself, but I know there's a few people out there who probably want to hear my story who haven't heard it. You know, shout out to you guys who continue to subscribe. A lot of you who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so if you could subscribe, that'd be awesome. Thank you guys for all that. You know, this channel is growing. You know, I see everybody's love for my channel. I do have stickers, you guys. Like, I got some stickers, so if you want a sticker, drop a comment. You know, drop your address, I'll send you out a sticker. It ain't much. It's a recovery word sticker. So strong to hold your bumper on. But yeah, or you can friend me on Facebook, The Recovery Warrior. Same way it's spelled here. I have a Facebook page, so hit me up on there. But yeah, I just thought I'd jump on and give you guys an update of how my life's been and what I've been up to. Stay tuned for more, because I'll have more people on. They just happen sporadically when guests come on, and keeping the content, I don't know, visual, keep them coming. I'm not stopping anytime soon. This channel is just getting going. You know, by the help of the people around me, the recovery warrior community, you know, brothers and sisters out there, I love you guys. You know, if you're on the fence, Google your local recovery sources. Addiction is real, guys. Addiction is real, but also recovery is real. You know, And if you like what you see, hit that like. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe. Love you.